Are you ready for some math problem solving? Remember, when you are solving a problem, the first thing you have to do is read the entire problem and then unpack it. Let's read the problem. I have 8 pennies in one hand. I have 6 pennies in the other hand. How many pennies do I have in all? Now let's unpack the problem so we can make sure we understand each sentence. Let's start with the first sentence. I have 8 pennies in one hand. That sentence is telling me what I have. I have 8 pennies. Let's read the next sentence. I have 6 pennies in the other hand. That sentence is telling me that in my other hand, there are 6 pennies. Now let's read the question. I know it's a question because it begins with a question word, how? And it has a question mark at the end. I know that sentences that end with a question mark are asking you something. This question is asking how many pennies? How many means that we need to find an amount. We're going to be finding out the amount of pennies we have in all. Let's go ahead and underline the question so we can make sure we answer it. How many pennies do I have in all? Now let's go line from line and visualize. Remember, visualizing is when you make a picture in your mind. Let's read the first sentence. I have 8 pennies in one hand. In my mind, I can see my hand, and in my hand, I see 8 pennies that I'm holding. The next sentence says, I have 6 pennies in the other hand. In my mind, I see my other hand, I'm holding it out. And in that hand, I've got 6 pennies that I'm holding. Now let's go ahead and act out the problem. The first sentence says, I have 8 pennies in one hand. What should I do? Put 8 pennies in one of the hands. Let's count them and put them in the hand one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to make sure that I don't cover any of the other pennies because then it would make it hard for me to count. Now I'm going to recount to make sure I have the right amount. Touch and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I have the correct amount. Now let's go to the next sentence. I have 6 pennies in the other hand. So I'm ready to put 6 pennies in this hand. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's go back and recount to make sure we have the correct amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have the correct amount in that hand. Now let's go back to the question. How many pennies do I have in all? Well, it wants me to count how many pennies, but it wants me to count all of them. So that tells me I'm going to join the sets together. I'm going to get a pen and join the sets together. I'll draw a circle around the sets to show that I'm joining them together so that I can count how many I have in all. When I join sets together, that means I'm doing addition. Addition is the operation we do when we join sets together. Now let's find the total by counting them all. Let's touch and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many pennies do I have in all? 14. Let's write the number that represents the total amount of pennies. A 14 is written with 1 in the tens place to represent one group of 10, and then a 4 in the ones place that represents 4 more in the ones place. 10 and 4 more is 14. Now I'm going to show you how to get the total amount by using a strategy called counting on. We already know there are 8 in this set of pennies. So I can start counting from the number 8 and then count on. Watch how I do that. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 pennies in all. Now let's look over here on the number line. Let's use the number line to solve the problem. This first sentence says I have 8 pennies in one hand. So I'm going to put the star around the number 8 on the number line. Then I'm going to use a pen to show how I count 6 more from the number 8. I'm going to start from the number 8 because that's our starting number, and I'm going to jump 6 because it says I have 6 pennies in the other hand. Watch how I do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps. Now I can put the other star around this number. When I started from the number 8 and jumped 6 times, I landed on the number 14 because 8 and 6 more is 14. And that's how you can use the number line to solve the problem. Now let's write a number sentence that represents the problem. The first sentence says I have 8 pennies in one hand. 8 is my starting number. That will be the first number in the equation, in the number sentence. I'm going to write the number 8. Now remember, we had to join the sets together. So that means we were doing the operation called addition. What sign do we use when we're doing addition? The plus sign. Plus means to add. So we have 8. How many more did we add? It says, I have 6 pennies in the other hand. We added 6 more. So I'm going to write the number 6. And here the equation says 8 plus 6. Now we put our equal sign. And over here, we're going to write the number that is equal to 8.8 plus 6. When we added 8 plus 6, what number did we get? 14. So let's write the number 14. So when you join 8 and 6 together, when you add 8 plus 6, you get the number 14. It's equal to 14. Now let's read the equation. 8 plus 6 equals 14. Did you notice how it started with the number 8 and then we ended up with the number 14? Did you notice how the number went up? That's because we added more. When you add more, the number goes up. It increases. You did a great job solving today's math problem. Give yourself a round of applause.